How's it going, lads? My name is Northstar. Welcome back to the channel. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support I've gotten over the last few days. My videos have been doing way better than I expected them to, and I really appreciate it. And in the next few days, running up to the release of Gigantic, I should have an announcement coming up soon. But for today, I wanted to put together a little tier list of the characters of Gigantic and where I think they'll be in balance wise and meta wise when it comes to Rampage Edition. Now, I just want to say this is my opinion. You know, if you don't agree, it's perfectly okay. I don't want you to agree. I want you to come up with your own opinions about where everyone is. But I want to get started straight away. I don't want the video to be too long, so we're gonna put Ashlyn straight away up into S tier. We're gonna get not S tier, A tier, right into it. The reason I'm putting Ashlyn in A tier is simply because she has to do one thing and she gets the majority of her value out of it. If Kador is alive and just in the area, she gets so much passive value. She gets the 35 HP a second for all of her allies in the area, and she gets a bunch of armor. It's amazing. And her survivability now is also very good. On the E that she has, on her E ability, she can get, I think it's 300 shield, and she can get debuff immunity. So her survivability is great. She's actually quite good for new players as well, just because she can get that passive value so easy. So yeah, I'm going to be putting her in A tier. Beckett is someone I've heard a lot of people disagree with, but I'm actually going to put her up in S tier. Just because I think Beckett, now that she has the crack armor on grenade, and she has an upgrade called Spark Grenade, where you have crack troopers on her grenade, which when the grenade explodes, it cracks people's armor, which is pretty much a team-wide damage boost because the target will have less armor, so they don't have the damage reduction. And you can then get Spark Grenade, which when it hits someone directly, it deals an additional 100 damage and explodes immediately. But now that causes it to push, so she gets an interrupt off of that, which is huge. Another thing about Beckett is she can have a consistent damage. She can consistently be swapping weapons to deal damage. Her talent, she has a damage boost talent, which is great for just consistently putting out damage, doing as much as you can before you die. And her focus gain is great, especially when you take refocus. You can get a focus out every fight. And as well as that, her focus can't be blocked. So if there's a wound, you can just drop the focus and they can't stop the damage from going through. It's amazing. So we're going to put Beckett up in S tier. Charnok is someone I've had a lot of debate about with people. I don't have a lot of debate, but just some debate. I'm actually just going to stick him for now in B tier. I might change some of these, but for now I'm going to put him in B tier. People think Charnok is good because he has good damage. He can deal a lot of that. If you use certain upgrades that boost your damage, you can get crit chance, you can be dealt, so that's 20% extra damage. You can do burning, you can destroy a 2000 HP target or less. It's great. But the problem with Charnok is his kit, especially his escape launches him into the air, but it's more of a vertical launch than a horizontal. He's kind of slow, he's chunky, so if you're actually quite easy to kill as a Charnok. Now, obviously, any range played well can seem impossible to kill. Like that's fine. But Charnok, I think he's quite easy to deal with because if he uses his escape, he is limited to what he can do. He has good burst damage, but it's inconsistent, in my opinion, which is unfortunate because I love Charnok's design. But for now, I'm going to put it in B. Again, I might move these around. Ezren, I'm going to put in... I might put him at the top of C for now. I love Ezren's design, I must say. I really do. My problem with Ezren is he doesn't start off... Like, obviously, the whole thing of Ezren is you have to get the souls from people. So you have to use your primary attack, your basic attack to get souls. And then you can use your R&B, which is where the damage comes in. For me, personally, I think that just sort of holds him back because he is aim reliant. He's an aim reliant character, but you can obviously take upgrades that limit that on his R&B. But the fact that you have to get souls first and then use the that's when your damage comes in, I think that sort of just limits what you can do with him. Also, he has a great, like, the immobilize is awesome as well, and he has pretty good survivability with the self heal, but his focus is also really easy to just stop. He flies up into the air, and after he like floats around for 2 seconds and then does a big burst of damage. Half the cast can, more than half the cast can stop this, as far as I know. If he gets dazed, any form of, I think it's any form of soft CC and hard CC will deal with it. Which is, I might be wrong with that. I think it might just be hard, but even then, it has a big wind up, and then you get the damage, which is unfortunate because he's so cool. But I will be playing him because I really am interested in learning him. He looks really fun. Granny going straight to D. Yeah, so this could be quite controversial for people who like Granny. The thing with Granny is oftentimes she is a coin flip character. She's extremely potent in some scenarios. She can take 50% damage reduction near her hand. She has lifesteal on her hands if you go melee Granny, which you should be going if you're playing Granny. She's just mainly an annoyance that is quite potent for like defensive comps and like sitting and controlling points. But often it's a coin flip on whether you do well or not. Sometimes one game you'll be controlling the whole thing, and then another, just whatever happens, you are useless. Also, your entire kit, on top of that, your entire kit is countered by curse. As soon as you get hit with curse, everything that makes you strong is gone, and you're just stuck on like, you just become a level 1 character again, which isn't good. But I don't know. I think Granny's design is so cool. It just sucks that she hasn't got. She's kind of just that coin flip. HK, I'm going to put in S tier. I think for these few tiers, I'm not going to have a particular order. So in this instance, it's not like Beckett's better than HK. I think for these ones, I think for this tier list, actually, I might just have none of them in like order. So just to make it more streamlined for people. HK is really fun. I enjoy HK. The thing with HK is he can just do so much. He has consistent damage. He has the railgun, which just chunks. That's 575 damage a lot of the time. That's a full bar. That's more than a bar of someone's HP, which is amazing. It's really strong. He actually does well against melee. He's really good against melees, which you may not think. You may think, oh, the character with no mobility is good against melees, but HK can counter Tripp. He can counter the majority of melees in Gigantic, just because of the tools he has. He's got that Q that instantly gets them off you if you go push Q. He's got Fortify, but one thing with HK is do not fall into the trap of fortifying all the time. You are not Bastion. You are not Bastion. You that is an instance where you will die. But HK just has a lot of good consistent damage to dish out. Great finishing capabilities. He's really good at securing those team fights, and he's got the capabilities to have great interrupts. And another important thing about HK is he doesn't really have a bad upgrade. A lot of the characters, like let me give what's an example? Some of Imani's like LMB upgrades, like LMB upgrades on Imani are awful. HK, pretty much all his upgrades are like good. Obviously there are better ones than others, but they're all like good and have their times. Imani is also S tier. Imani, the fact that this character has no limited range, so he has like unlimited ranged, has incredible incredible way of surviving. If she gets dove, you can use your smoke bomb to either daze people or to cleanse yourself and fly away, or you can full weaken people and give yourself a damage reduction. That pretty much, I think I've seen clips where Tripp focuses in an Imani smoke bomb with the class talent Fog of War, straight up just make the Tripp focus deal 90 damage. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, that's how strong this is. It's insane. So yeah, unlimited ranged, pretty decent focus gain, I must say. Her focus is extremely strong as well. One thing I have to say about Imani is I just wish she just didn't have unlimited range. And a lot of her upgrades are annoying as well. Like the burn, like the fact that you can apply a burn or freeze from across the map without someone seeing you is insane. So hopefully Imani gets nerfed. A limited range would be nice. 100%. That's something I feel like I would love to see. Knossos, I'm gonna put in B tier with Charnok. Knossos got nerfed quite significantly in live, and I'm pretty sure those changes are still present. His adding assault to injury path on his LMB, you would take Pierce, which when you sprint and you hit someone with the sprint attack, you give them bleed. Then adding assault to injury added upon the bleed. It was the same in earlier versions of live. It was the same as a Tyto focus on every sprint LMB, which is insane. So that got nerfed. Then, as far as I know, a lot of his kit as well got nerfed. So his E paths, that the paths on Bull Rush, which he could like speed up his teammates, give himself damage boost, all that's been like nerfed. So a lot of the points where Kai was considered strong have been reduced. So I'm gonna put him in B just because of that, but also he's kind of easy to deal with in a sense, because a Kai will be really strong if you let him get in, deal all the damage he wants, get kills and die. Kais hate whenever a target uses an escape tool, they peel themselves, they get peeled out for, or the Kai gets displaced. If a Kai gets pushed by like a HK mortar or something, his entire strategy's gone and he has to reevaluate what he has to do. So like that, it's kind of easy to stop a Kai in their tracks. Margrave, honestly, I'm still going to put him in S tier. I think he goes in S tier by process of elimination of being the only real tank. Now, obviously, we'll get on to Rutger soon, but there's a bunch of bruisers in the game. There's fighters, there's frontlines. Margrave is the only one that can proper tank with the best of them. He is the tank of gigantic. He has incredible interrupts. His focus is great. All his abilities are really good. He's just a really strong, potent character, and he's great at making space. A lot of the characters that are like really good at making space, their presence alone creates space for them, which is really good. So yeah, Margrave's just going in S tier. I've seen some incredible Margrave players, especially in private servers I've played in over the past few years. Some of the Margraves I've seen are insane. Mozu, I'm gonna stick Mozu. Now you see, I like Mozu, so this is gonna be tricky. I feel like I might put Mozu in. I got to go in A tier for now. Again, I might change some of this. Mozu is great for dealing damage and having utility. She is incredible at helping her teammates get out. So she has, I think it's a 6 or an 8-second cripple on her RMB, which is like the slow beam. It's amazing. She can get an interrupt on level 1 with that, which is also huge. She can get the deflect shield and she can counter whatever the enemy team has. So if they have more potent ranged, you can go the deflect path on her vortex, or if they have more potent melee, you can make it daze, you can make it pull to deal with them, which is amazing. Her focus is also very fun to use. I just like the focus. And it can deal a lot of damage as well. I'm pretty sure it can almost kill a Tripp from full HP if it is on them the whole time. And then she has teleport, which is amazing. Like Mozu is kind of easy to assassinate with Tripp, especially if they don't have teleport. If they don't have teleport, the Mozu's finished. But she is really good. Especially whenever she's really good at peeling for her team and dealing damage, and that's what makes a Mozu player incredible at the game, whenever they can do both really well. But as well, she has the ability to reduce the cooldowns of her other abilities with TP, which is cool because you can get that uptime. You can constantly be dishing out abilities, dealing damage, helping your teammates out. So I'm going to stick her in there. Ori, I have a soft spot for Ori. I really like his design. I feel like he is above B tier. I feel like he's more useful now because he can be constant. He always has that the burn on somebody. He can have slow often. He can have cosmic power up often. The launch, he has sort of the same issue Charnok has, where he has good burst, but once he uses the burst, he kind of has nothing. Once he uses all his burst, he has to use all his cooldowns, and then he's sort of left with nothing. But yeah, he's really, really, really fun. He's definitely better now that his focus is harder to dodge, if you don't know. His focus gain's amazing, by the way. His focus gain is really, really, really quick, which is also a good thing because you can use it as a finishing tool and as an escape. But Ori focus, when he applies cards to you and then he does like a clap animation, and when he claps, you take a bunch of damage from the cards he's put on you, and then if you're below half HP, you take extra damage. You can actually avoid the damage if you dodge, because you get invulnerability frames whenever you dodge. If you dodge at the right time, you will negate the damage, which is amazing. It's harder to do now than it was in the private servers, but it's still doable. Pakko is... I love Pakko. I'm going to stick Pakko also in B tier. Not that to say he isn't as strong. He has more HP now. He can sort of peel with less risk now. I can't remember if his focus gain is more or not. I don't think it is, but his focus has changed now. It dazes on the end of it, so you can get a final interrupt off, which is really, really, really good. He can... What else has he got? He's got the path. The path is great. He can reach like maximum speed boost on his path, which is amazing. He's amazing for peeling. He's great for securing kills, punishing people who overextend. That's amazing. The thing with Pakko is he's big, he's kind of slow, and his animations and everything are really, really telegraphed, so it's kind of easy to tell whenever a Pakko's going to do something, and as well as focus has a massive wind up. He's also kind of difficult to play because if you fall into the trap of playing him like a tank, then you won't find any success at all. You kind of have to play him more like a support bruiser sort of thing. Wait for people to make some mistakes. Wait for your follow up on your team going in, help him getting out, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to put him there just because compared to like Ramsay or the other supports that are good at peeling, I feel like he falls behind a little bit. Ramsay, I'm going to put in A tier. He got nerfed from the private servers, so Ramsay's main thing is he's great at 1v1s, he's an annoyance, he's good at cleaning up kills, and his survivability and interrupting potential is insane. So on his RMB ability, his right mouse button, he does like a dash, and if he hits someone with it, if you take the right upgrades, the cooldown's reduced to 4 seconds from 6, and it interrupts if they're attacking. That also counts for creatures collecting. He can interrupt, so every 4 seconds he can stall it, and I'm pretty sure it takes about 3 seconds for a creature to collect power, so we can constantly stop it. It's amazing. Ramsay's also good for area control. His focus is like a massive poison area, and it makes him and his team invisible, which is great for stalling, great for just buying time, making sure that enemies going through choke points they get in combat, take a little bit of damage, and poison reduces the amount of healing people get. So he's really good at preventing people from getting heals. So if they have, say, a Sven or a Vadasi or any of those characters that dish out a lot of heals, he's really, really good for that. He also just counter supports in general, I feel, because Zandora, her ultimate gives a massive shield, and he can take Curse and get rid of the shield with a single LMB, because Curse removes buffs. So he's really, really, really good for that. So Ramsay's going to stay up there, but just because of his potence, he's really, really, really good. Rutger, I'm also going to put into A tier. He can get a shield regen really good. Paired with an Ashlyn, that's going to be a good combo to run. An Ashlyn and a Rutger, just because she just needs to put Kato down in the area. He's going to regen a bunch of shield even while in combat. So even when he's not regenning health himself out of combat, he can easily get the shield back, which is huge. He's got great survivability with Burrow. Good mobility as well. He's great at stalling, interrupting, closing off choke points. I would say he's less of a tank like Margrave. I think he's more of a bruiser, akin to maybe Cow, or even more akin to Ramsay in some ways. But I really, really I enjoyed playing him during the playtest, and I think he's really, really, really fun. Sven is S tier. Oh my god, this character, pardon me, this character's so broken. Sven is just the best support in the game. He doesn't have the most heals, by any means, but he has a pretty reliable crack armor on his RMB. He can burn. He has not consistent damage, but he can always be dishing out and keeping people in combat. And then the big thing is His Q is a super jump, but you can make it give people armor. And if you put a healing waters inside of the Q, you can give people 250 HP instantly, plus 500 over 10 seconds. That is insane. So you get a interrupt, a super jump, debuff immunity because of the healing waters, healing. You also get that's also counts as like a cleanse because debuff immunity cleanses negative effects. All of that you get on 2 cooldowns. That is insane. And also his focus is really, really good for just stalling points and making sure people get finished. So I'm gonna stick him up there just because of his potence. He's insane. If there's never an instance where I don't want a Sven. A good Sven is insane. He's so good at getting assists and just being there for his team and getting them. He has the tools to get people in and out of fights, keep them sustained in fights, all of that. It's amazing. Tiamat is also going to be up in S tier. Now this may change depending on if the bug she has is fixed or not. Tiamat has upgrades on her left mouse button, so her basic attack, where if a target is burning, so if she hits them with her R&B, which are missiles, if she hits them with the missiles, they burn. Then if you hit them with your left mouse button, your primary fire, when they're burned, their armor gets cracked, so they take more damage. There's a bug where no matter what, on every L&B, whether they're burning or not, she gives them crack armor. That is so strong. That just adds on top of what makes her busted, because she already is insanely broken, because her homing missiles do a lot of area damage that can stack on targets, which is really, really, really strong. Her escape is insane. Her focus is also quite strong, although it's not, I don't think it's as broken as people say it is, because you have to land everything, and if they literally just use a movement ability, they're kind of harder to get at. And her E is also quite good, especially with the days. So she's going to stay strong. She's kind of like a more mobile, shorter range than Imani, in a sense, but she is quite strong, very strong. Easily, I would say, the best character. So I'm going to hope that she gets nerfed. Tripp, I'm going to put down in B tier as well. Tripp and Cow, I probably should have mentioned, these characters are good at killing people who don't know how to stop them, which the majority of the player base will be newer. So these characters will, a lot of characters who are good at just killing people who don't know what they're doing or just easily stopping people, those are the ones that are going to look really good. But when you break them down and you look at them objectively, you realize, oh, they're not actually that bad. Tripp is really good at just getting people. With Tripp, you can burst someone down from full HP. And her focus is now buffed actually, but it moves faster, so it's a projectile. When you hit them, then you deal a bunch of little strikes of damage. But the thing with Tripp is her best path in older versions was Power Surge. So whenever you hit people with your primary attack, you get damage boost and move speed boost. Those have been split into 2 separate upgrades. So what ends up being that at early game, you'll struggle with escapes because you don't have that speed boost escape option. Her Q also, I don't believe stuns anymore. It's like a big kick she does on somebody. I don't think it stuns anymore. So I'm pretty sure you lose the interrupt or you have to upgrade into it. And yeah, so a lot of what made Tripp half decent before, or good, has been reduced, and it's made her a little bit worse. The best thing to do to deal with Tripp is watch for telegraphed abilities. If you can hear her doing her slide early, if she tries to slide up to you and kick, just try and dodge out of the way, keep moving. And oftentimes, if 2 people on your team look at her and start shooting at her, she'll have to run away. Especially if she wastes either both Q and E, because she's left without an escape. But keep that in mind that Tripp can be really, really strong. It's just you can counter her quite well. Now, let's get on to Tyto. Tyto got buffed quite decently in Rampage Edition. I do still think he's worse than Tripp at level 10 because Tyto lacks CC that the other 2 assassins, Tripp and Wu, who often play like Wu's often play like an assassin, but those 2 have decent CC or quite good CC. Tyto lacks that. You have to get an upgrade that specifically gives you the CC. And it's objectively a worse upgrade on his E ability. It's objectively worse than the other path, which gives him crack armor. So it's often better for him to just get the damage, because Tyto is great at just going in and harassing the backline. And to be honest with Tyto, you can sort of just do whatever you want, so long as you're getting kills and getting out. But his damage was increased on a lot of stuff. He can sort of burst people down a little bit more now. In older versions, he just didn't have burst that Tripp and Wu had. Now he sort of has that now. And his main thing is just mobility, so you can constantly move. He's still got the Tyto tech in place, so you get even more mobility. So I feel like we might get more Tyto play in the future, but we'll have to see. Up next, we've got Vadasi. Vadasi, I think I'm going to put into... No, this is... I might get in trouble for this. For me, personally, I think she is... I feel like she might be B tier. Because she has a lot of heals. Like, Vadasi has a lot, like, way too much heals. It's kind of stupid. But I feel like, as well as that, her focus gives her, like, 90 armor. Now that crack and break armor, people are going to use... Since looking at the best characters in the game, and seeing that 3 of them have a very reliable crack armor, I feel like she kind of won't be that much of an issue anymore, or at least for the start. And poison as well stops Vadasi quite a lot, but again, she still has a lot of survivability and a lot of ways of healing people. But again, that's just my opinion. I feel like for Vadasi, if I could like change something, I love the way her orbs work. I just wish her heals were toned down a little bit to give her a bit more thought, rather than just, I'm gonna hit orbs and heal people now. Voden is A tier. There's only one gripe I have about Voden, and it's that it's better to not upgrade his Q. On Q, which is where you summon your clone, you want to usually take Companion's Boon to get more damage out, and to stall a lot of the time. But it's often better to not upgrade from Companion's Boon up to the next 2 upgrades, which is either they create healing, the clone creates healing pools, or the clone sends out poison, because it's overall less damage per second, which is not really what you want. And that makes it even easier to tell what the clone is. So Voden, that's the only real gripe I have about Voden, but Voden is amazing at just getting assists, he has good damage, he's got good range poke, the jump pad is amazing for an escape, he's got the poison, and his focus is amazing. It's a wide area that just holds everyone in place. It's a massive immobilize. It's really, really, really good. But yeah, that's kind of my only gripe about Voden. Also, he has amazing escape and survivability. Arguably probably top 3 most survivable characters in the game now. Or it still is, just because he can get hit and run on his mid path, which gives him extra move speed. So you can, I think at max you can go with both movement speed upgrades, like 20% move speed faster, which is really good. Wu, I'm sort of tied between A and S tier right now. I feel like I might put him in A because he still has tongue. Wu used to be, you could 1v5 the entire enemy team and you could get away with it with a few kills and have escapes. With Wu now, it's more like you can 1v3 and get a kill out of it. Just because he has less damage now on everything. His damage been toned down, and his animations are a lot more readable. The effects on his abilities are a lot more readable, and as well as that, he is I'm pretty sure his downtime is increased, so it takes longer for abilities to go out, or at least the effects they provide on people, or like stuns, are decreased. But I'm gonna stick him there just because he still is like really strong, and he's also just super fun. So I'm gonna put him there because tongue, just the fact that you can pull someone from across the map, or not across the map, but like you can pull someone out of position and give you that 10 power that you need, is amazing. The ability to reposition someone where they would have usually gotten away back to you to get the kill especially in a game where kills give direct power, is really, really, really strong. Xenobia, I'm going to put in. I'm gonna put her in C again for now. Xenobia is kind of like a worse version of Pakko. She's like a debuff support, so she puts a bunch of debuffs on somebody. She can definitely do a little bit more since her primary attack does more damage, and she can put like 8 debuffs on somebody, which is insane. But the problem with Xeno, for me, is I would rather just play Pakko over Xeno, because Pakko's focus is similar to Xeno's as well, except with Pakko's you can get damage out of it and you can secure kills with it, where Xeno, it's actually harder to throw. You can actually save enemies quite easily if you don't place a Xenobia focus right. Where Pakko's, it's kind of harder to do that. But Xenobia, I feel like she can still, every character in Gig can do well. But with Xenobia, I would just rather have a Pakko, if I'm being honest. She still is good. She's good against support. She's good at slowing people down, stopping them, securing kills, punishing people, interrupting. She's great at all that. And her self-sustain's even better now, which is very, very good. Both of these characters have self-sustain. They both have like self-healing. Xandi needs to go D tier, right now. Zandora just doesn't get enough value from what she has. She has auras. One boosts damage, one speeds people up and gives her stamina, and one heals. None of them do enough for me where I warrant her being good. I feel like she just needs numbers increase. She needs bigger auras. I think I need the healing to be increased, the speed boost to be a bit more. I think she needs to get a bit more stamina off of her Q, which is the speed one. The damage boost one, I actually think it might be okay. I just wish that it did a bit more damage as like a melee attack, because she, out of all like the tanks and bruisers, she does the least amount of damage, as far as I know. But the big upside with Zandora is, I would say, her focus. Her focus is very, very, very good. It's like a big shield she gives people. So I think it's like 600 HP, 800 HP, 1000 HP, which is really, really good. My only problem with it is its generation is really slow, because you don't get focus off of using your auras on people. It's only dealing damage and taking damage, as far as I know, that gives her focus. And even then, the generation is really, really, really slow. And Zandora's upgrades aren't great. Even the ones that give her extra focus, they aren't very, very good. And as well, a lot of characters that have curse could get rid of it in just one LMB, and the entire focus is gone. So it's just not worth it for me for her to generate all that focus and then just have it taken away in one LMB. Which sucks, because I really like the idea of like an aura healer. In other games, I really like aura healers. So I just wish Zandora was better. So now I'm just going to go over this and just review and see if there's any characters I want to change. I'm happy enough with this tier right now. Again, these are in no particular order. A tier is... Worry I'm happy with. Ashlyn I'm also kind of happy with. I feel like yes. Mozu, I feel like I'm going to keep Ramsay there. Rutger there. Mozu, oh no, I kind of want to move Mozu down to B for me. I think... Actually, no. I'm going to keep her where she is, because looking at the range in here, she's better than Charnok. She's better than Oru, so I'm going to keep her there. Then there's Vadasi. I'm happy enough with that. Charnok, yes. Pakko, yes. Kai, yes. Oru, I'm happy enough. Oru is better than these guys. Yep. Happy with that. I'm just trying to compare to see, are these characters all better with the ones that are below them? These two are better than them. These guys are all better than these ones. These guys here are all better. I'm happy enough with this tier list. I think this is absolutely fine. But I'm actually really interested to hear what you guys think about this, and if you would change anything. So feel free to leave it in the comments below. I'm really, really interested to gather what the community thinks about the current state. But I think this should be, for me, what I think is an accurate representation of what the meta will be in Gigantic Rampage Edition. Again, thank you for all the support on my channel. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I'll hopefully see you in the next one. And I will be having an announcement in the next few days. In regards to launch day, I have a announcement I'm going to be doing. But thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.